Welcome, everyone.
Hello.
Magnificent Monday. Daniel, can you hear my music?
Yep, I can hear some music. Hello, everybody.
Welcome, everyone. Hi, John. Hi, Ken. Hi, Miranda. Charm, I would love to know what your, if you go by Charm or if there's another name that you like to go by. Welcome, Sarah. It's great to see you all. Happy Monday.
Hello,
if you
hello.
would, please, while we're getting started, you are our leaders who are on your A game. If you would be willing to open your chat, say hello to one another, share your name, the practice where you're joining us from. On a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you in this very moment? And then an optional question. I know you're super busy. What inspired you to join us to say yes to Monday Night Fun? Welcome, Randy. Thank you for those of you who have your cameras on. It's great to see smiling faces. That makes it so much more fun. Hi, Ken. I love your background. You're solid. We know exactly where you come from.
Subtle, right?
Sarah, thank you for kicking us off. Not currently working in the industry, but certified and have been in the industry since '98. Thank you for sharing. Daniel, thanks for kicking us off on our scale of 1 to 10. Happiness level 8. But today's a day off.
Work days might be a little lower.
Welcome, Heather. Thank you for answering those prompts, for joining us from Family Vision Center on the board of the Opticians Association. Thank you for your service and big shout out for your leadership. How about scale of 1 to 10? Just pop a number in, everyone. Let's see.
No, you're not in the meeting yet, I don't think.
Huh?
I don't think you're in the meeting yet.
That's for you in the meeting.
I am in the meeting. It's weird, like the videos change.
Turn the video up.
It's getting all glitchy.
All right. All right, we got a lot of people are in a
We're all pretty happy today, looks like.
Yeah, look at that. We got 7s, 8s, 9s. That's not bad. I'll take it. Okay, well, Daniel, I'm going to let you go ahead and kick us off, set the stage, and then I'll introduce and dive us in.
Good on anything I should have done his throat.
And if you wouldn't mind muting, there we go. Mute yourself, and then when we get into breakouts, we'll have you unmute. All right, Daniel, go ahead and kick us off and welcome everyone.
Hey, welcome everybody to our first session of Elevate. So hopefully I tossed out a little video this morning. Hopefully you got a chance to see that, just a brief explanation of why I did this. I've talked to some of you about this before. But we really need a community, need a place where optical professionals and opticians can get together and we can discuss with each other, share ideas, and just be a community and build a society. And the Opticians Association has tried to do that over the years, but this is going to be our first foray into a professional development forum and doing it online so that we can reach all corners of Colorado, because we know sometimes it's hard for guys who are Western Slope or far north or far south to get into our live meetings. So this is where we're going to start off here. And Dr. J is an education specialist and professional development coach who is helping us put this together and get this event started so we can get it rolling real quick and then keep it rolling month after month from now on, always to have a place for us to meet. And as we go on and I take over more and more, it'll become more and more optical topic driven. But right now we're just going to focus on getting a a cool community together and building our personal development.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that, Daniel. I was so excited when Daniel shared his vision for this, because it's easy to get alone in our work. It's easy to feel isolated. It's easy to get caught on the merry-go-round if you're using positive vernacular. I've been trapped in even worse than that, which is the hamster wheel, where you wake up each day, you hop on the hamster wheel, you run through the day as fast as you can, you hop off, and somehow you make it to Friday. And you kind of tend to live for the weekends. Your loved ones get the worst of you at the end of the day, not the best of you. So I'm a big fan of high performance research because it helped me make sure that my life was center stage, that I was growing professionally, but that my personal life was also equally as important. And so this topic of high performance is so important and near and dear to my heart. It's an interesting topic because a lot of us, you wouldn't be here on a Monday night if you weren't a high performer. So kudos to you for showing up. You are the best in your field, the best in your industry. And so we thought we would call this Elevate because we're situated in Colorado at Elevation. And our goal is to really help you elevate your career and, more importantly, to also elevate your life. So we're here to elevate ourselves in community, as Daniel mentioned, to also elevate our business practices that we work in the society. And my specialization is really leadership development in high stakes, high growth, fast paced environments. And so the experience that we're all having with this post-COVID world and so much uncertainty is affecting our businesses. And so we want to position you in this space to elevate your business as well, and then to also claim our industry and own that this is a space where we can be really proud of. I was really excited when Daniel shared that opticians are among the happiest of the career fields. And he also shared that at this moment in time, it doesn't always feel that way. And so we want this to be a space where we can be reminded of that. So we're going to be looking at, this is basically get ready. I'm a big fan of efficiency and highly effective use of time. So you've got 20 years of research coming at you in 1 hour. So if you're a little bit tired, use some breath inhalation through your nose, exhalation through your nose to oxygenate yourself. Sit up nice and tall. Think about 3 words that describe you at your absolute best, your most amazing self. Put those words center stage in your mind right now as we join together and show up for ourselves and, most importantly, for each other. So I've titled this presentation High Performance Career and Life Design, because we do spend the majority of our lives at work each week, and that work affects our lifestyle. I started my career in education and then later led the development of downtown Denver's first elementary school, have had the honor of advising the White House, Gates Foundation, House and Senate in how to innovate and best position people for success through learning. And then more recently have worked with high-tech, high-growth firms, training leaders across the globe, which allowed me to make the biggest dream of my life come true for my daughter. When my daughter first told me I want to ride horses, I was broke as a joke as an educator and couldn't afford to do what I wanted to do for her. So there was a big connection for me between my career and my life. And I was very excited to learn how the best in the world achieve success with joy center stage, not the hustle and hardship, but with joy and peace, peaceful productivity being how we characterize our days. So I'm excited to share that with you. Our norms as we work together on these Monday evenings each month will be to take notes. I want you to have a notepad handy or a micro. I like to, if I'm the trainee, when I'm learning, I like to have Zoom kind of on half my screen, the other half a Word doc, and then I can screenshot, click and drag that screenshot. You're welcome to screenshot any of this and take lots of notes. The sad truth, you're investing an hour of your time. Any guesses? Go ahead and unmute yourself or type in the chat. What percentage do you think you'd remember a month from now about what we covered tonight? This is the worst part of my job. Any percentage?
Like 5%?
5, that's a good guess. Shar says 25%. That's really close, Shar. 20%. So 30 days from now, you only remember a measly 20% of what I've poured my heart and soul into creating for you. We dial that up to 50% simply by taking notes and 90% when we execute. So your personal challenge as we go through this session today is to think about what's one thing that I can either start doing or sometimes more importantly, stop doing as a result of this training. And then also I invite you to, as I mentioned, show up as your highest best self. Think of the 3 words that describe that person. If 1, 2, or 3 of those words come to mind, will you pour them into the chat? So one of my favorite words that I used to hide is vibrant. I would, I just noticed my chat isn't set. There we go. I would hide that side of myself because I thought I had to be professional, and I acted a little more stoic in my fake it till you make it facade. And vibrant is something that I've learned has been something that's helped me in my career. Another one of my 3 words that I like to show up as is bold. I like to, I'm not naturally bold. I have to condition that. So I want you to be thinking about what words stretch you as well. And then the word that I love the most, especially right now, I'm navigating a cancer diagnosis and high growth aggressive tumor, which is not a lot of fun. And so the word that I use right now is connected, that I feel most supported. I feel like I can be at my best when I'm connected to others. And that's why I love this work, is we're connected in community at this time. So as you think about your wheels are turning, I invite you to put some of those words in the chat so that we can see the best of yourself. Thank you, Shar, for kicking us off. Professional, friendly, and kind. I love it. This is one of my favorite things, to see the best of all of us showing up and having, I don't know about you, but the world doesn't always invite my best, especially if I'm driving in traffic. Expert, supportive, mentor. Thank you, Daniel. I love it. Growing that expertise and extraordinary leadership. And then also to engage with your colleagues. You're doing a great job of that already in the chat. This is a space of leadership. You're here because you are leaders in this industry. You are leaders in your offices, and you're likely, my guess would be, you're leaders in your lives. Your family is leaning on your leadership, your community, friends, family. Probably you're the person that they turn to for advice. And so I honor you and celebrate you for being present and learning and investing. Let's see, we also have loud, friendly, expert, yay, inquisitive, self-starter, reliable. Alicia, I love these words. Randy, creative, resourceful, innovative. Ken, passionate, energized, family. Love it. Can't you just feel the power of those words? Words actually have electromagnetic fields to them, which is fascinating and totally different training topic. So I'm going to keep us on track. As your chat's open, when you hear the words high performance, what honestly comes to mind? When I first heard the words high performance, I thought, I don't know if I can, I'm already performing at my best. I don't know if I could do more. So it made me think about more. What does high performance make you think about? Ooh, I love the words still coming in.
Lots of work, constant work.
Constant work, right? That it's got to be a grind, hustle, grind, constant work. Any other thoughts?
I consider it to be a leader, leading in performance.
Definitely being a leader is a big one. We have such an effect on the people around us. And that is definite leadership, that when we choose high performance, it's leadership. Thank you so much for sharing that, Ken. Other thoughts? Passion, thank you. Efficient, great words. Thank you for participating in the chat and in words. Actionable, right? We're doing things. Okay, so in performance research, there's 3 lives that describe the human condition. The first is caged. This would be a good one for a screenshot just for you for reference. The second is comfortable, and the third is charged. So we're going to go through these pretty quickly. So in the caged life, individuals are asking themselves questions about survival, failure, worrying about what other people think. They often feel misunderstood, trapped, imprisoned, or controlled. They see life as a projection of others' wishes and desire to respond to those wishes. It's often, I've been trapped in the caged life when I was a pleaser. Any fellow pleasers out there, recovering people pleasers? That's a very caged way of living. The comfortable life, as we shift towards a little bit improved lifestyle or operating system for our lives, the comfortable life worries or thinks about acceptance and success. They sometimes feel bored or aimless, and they can see life as very familiar. Sometimes there's an enigmatic feeling associated with the comfortable life as well, which is where things are kind of difficult to interpret or understand. There's a wonderment that exists about meaning and fulfillment because it's not there, it's absent. And then there's what I want all of you to leave this living, which is the charged life. Those individuals are asking themselves, am I living in my truth each day? Am I actualizing my potential? Am I living an inspired life that inspires those around me? As a leader in my office, in my family, in my communities, are others inspired by the way that I'm living my life? And then there's a feeling of excitement and joy and purpose that comes with living a fully charged life. These individuals see life as exciting and meaningful. They have a sense of fulfillment that exists in their lives. They're filled with unlimited possibilities for growth and progress. So I invite you to just reflect in your journal, and you can put it in the chat if you'd like. I would love to see. Sometimes, full disclosure, I live all of these conditions on the same day. You can be in any one of these states at any given time. That's the beauty of our neuroplasticity and our brain's ability to change and shift. And the conditions of our lives, our experiences shift as well. I know during quarantine, I felt pretty caged for some of those days where we're under lockdown, you can't go do things. That was a very caged experience. Sometimes I get myself into a comfort zone where there's some rituals and routines, and I get a little bored, I get a little aimless. And other times I'm fully charged, living on purpose. So I would love to see where you're at or hear where you're at. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm also a rapid cycler, so I go through every single one of them in a day. Most days.
Thank you, Randy. I appreciate your courage in being willing to go first and also owning that, right? Some days we see all of these moments in a day. I know for me, I'm definitely in the comfortable spot right in the morning when the alarm goes off. That's for certain. I have to condition myself to be charged. Shar says, absolutely. Daniel says he feels mostly comfortable and tries to keep it that way. There's some peace in the comfort zone. Any other thoughts on these three lives that describe the human condition? What you see in the world? I'm kind of playing with an idea that I think there's a fourth one that I want to call the curious life, where you're comfortable, but you're curious about what might be more. What might be out there?
I personally think that is my life every day. Being that I'm so inquisitive, like asking why has become like offensive to some people, and it's interesting how that's like kind of like turned. And as opticians, I think we're natural problem solvers.
Yeah.
So we always ask why. Why is it like that? Like, so yeah.
You know what's really interesting about that? Was that Alicia?
Yes.
Yes, thank you for clarifying, because there was a few faces and I couldn't tell. Gifted children, I spent a lot of my early years in education working with gifted kids, and they were always the annoying ones, perceived as annoying because they always asked why. So I always try to honor when we're asking why, it's just because we're intellectually curious, our brains are brilliant. And so I love also that you said it's part of our field, right? We are in awe. We have wonderment and awe, which is a habit of mind that the most successful people in the world exude. So you keep asking those why questions. It's good. Ken says, I strive for charged, yet sometimes may result in comfortable. That really resonates with me. Our brains are wired for comfort. It's the path of least resistance. It's the least amount of effort. And if you think about it as a species, evolutionary perspective, we wouldn't survive if we were always exerting the highest degree of effort in every single thing. So we're wired for comfort. We can condition ourselves to be charged. And that's what part of this training is on, is as a high performance expert, I like to help people become better conditioned for charged lives. So let's dive a little bit deeper. That was kind of the tip of the iceberg of the three lives. Now we're going to do a little quiz. So the first question, and this is, just think of it as a reflective survey of your own life and where you're at right now. If you feel comfortable, you can type these in the chat. I will say we've got a really great group that I celebrate that you've brought a spirit of psychological safety. In Google's research on effective teams and effective, in this case, a community of people, Psychological safety is what tells us I'm safe to show up here as myself. I'm safe to show up here to be seen, to make a contribution, and to share with authenticity. And I want this to be that treasured space where you do have that comfort of knowing we're all doing the best that we can with what we know. And we're here to learn. I celebrate you for that. It's Monday evening. I don't know many people who come to learn professionally on Monday nights. So you're my people. We're geeking out together. And to also know that some days we are caged and sometimes life gets really hard. As I navigate cancer, I can't even tell you how many times I'm fighting being caged sometimes with diagnosis and challenges. So I want this to also be a place where you can be real and share what is happening in your life. So thank you, Shar, Sarah, and John for being willing to answer the question in the chat. Full disclosure, whoop, whoop, I celebrate the bold. That is amazing. Good job. So the question is, just how stressed out are you? A, not at all, calm, cool, collected. I'm in tune. I got it going on, no sweat. B, I have a handle on most things, but there's those occasional moments, where my blood pressure soars, my mood becomes foul. I could scream at the person who cuts me off in traffic. And then C, a lot of frenzy, a lot of stress, feeling pretty agitated, anxious, nervous. Looks like we're kind of a lot all over the board here, actually. B's, A's, a little bit of C, closing in on C. I celebrate that, Heather. I appreciate your honesty. A, B-ish. Don't you love it? I love, this is a good sign. We've got the rule breakers. A, B-ish. Dylan, you're my people. You don't need to pick just one. Feel free to answer authentically. So this was fascinating to me. The research on high performance, the largest body of research that exists, 20 years of data, shows that high performers are more successful than their peers, yet they're less stressed. I was shocked to learn that. They just have a more resilient spirit within them that they're able to draw on. We're all resilient as human beings, yet high performers are able to cope with stress. They gain perspective better and therefore experience less performance dips as a result of stressful environments. Question 2, part 2 of the survey. Let's take a look at your current state of mind. How much time over the past 30 days have you felt the items on this list? Cheerful, in good spirits, extremely happy, very calm and peaceful, satisfied with how things are going, full of life. A, all the time, B, some of the time, C, hardly ever. All right, Heather kicks us off. Thank you. We've got B's here. A's, B's, all in some, most. Good. Another interesting part of research that Daniel really wanted to make sure we covered is that high performers are happy. What's amazing, I love that opticians are happy people. That should be like a big commercial, like a career recruitment commercial. While many people tend to be unhappy achievers, a lot of high achievers, when you dig into the granularity of their lives, they have a lot of unhappiness that's there. That kind of feeling that is resentment that exists because they're doing all this, they're making all these sacrifices, they're achieving a lot, but it's at the expense of the things that matter most to them. And that leads to that lack of fulfillment. High performers, on the other hand, exhibit this positive emotional state of being. They exhibit that engagement with others. They feel and experience joy and confidence as a result of how they engage in the world. So I found that really fascinating, wanted to share too. And last question, do you feel like you're firing on all cylinders in life? Are you engaged and challenged, yet also feel calm and satisfied, right? You're not engaged and challenged. I like to describe this as the bicycle question. You want to be you're on the bike, right? It's not parked in the garage and you don't even have any desire to get on it. That would be more caged. You're on the bike, you're pedaling as fast as you can, that kind of joyful delight you had as a kid when you were like seeing how fast can I go, but you're not going so fast that you're ready, feel like you're ready to throw up. That's kind of how I describe this question. You're challenged and engaged, yet you also have this calm satisfaction. Let's see how we're doing here. Some A's, B's, B, A, B, a little bit of turbulence. It sounds good. Like this is a resilient group. A minus. Oh, I love it. So here's the research on this particular part of the topic. High performers work very passionately, regardless of the reward system that's in place. High performance has no correlation to compensation, which is very fascinating. What you get paid doesn't affect your odds or your ability to perform at high levels. High performers work hard not because of money. This part fascinates me, but because of necessity. They raise performance necessity. I want you to write those 3 words down. And this is the difference of a joy-filled response to challenge versus a caged or comfortable response. Like when I got my cancer diagnosis, I was absolutely shocked. No one in my family has cancer. It came very out of the blue and moved very quickly. And I thought, okay, you know what? This is performance necessity. That was my almost first thought, because I know high performance research so well. So when a challenge comes your way, your perspective can be, thank you, that's performance necessity. That's the invitation for your best self to emerge. So that's your new perspective shift. I like to say shift happens. My mom's from England and we weren't allowed to cuss growing up. And so I would make up fun little words to kind of push the edge of disruption. And so the shift that sometimes has to happen for me as an aspiring high performer in all areas of my life is when a challenge comes my way, I'm human. There's self-doubt, there's insecurity, all the normal responses that humans feel. Yet there's also, I can shift in my mind and say, thank you, challenge accepted. This is performance necessity, and high performers rise when the stakes demand that they show up. They're not in it for trophies or accolades or bonuses. That's not where meaning is derived for them. Their work is not unique or even their dream job. It's how they choose to work. They work with purpose. They know that the way they work matters. There was a gentleman named Fred who, an author named Mark Sanborn, who's a big speaker, wrote about Fred. Fred was his mailman. For those of you who are familiar with the Denver area, he was a mailman in Wash Park. And Mark used to be traveling a lot for work. And Fred, the mailman, would notice when Mark was working and out of town because his mail would be piling up. And Fred finally said, you know what, would it be possible if you tell me your schedule, I'll hold these for you, or I could put them in the backyard. Now this is, about 15 years ago. So before Ring cameras were on front doors, he saw a need for this gentleman to have his mail and deliveries protected and just simply offered to go the extra mile. That's an example of a high performer, regardless of job title, regardless of status, to be working in a very purposeful manner. There's also a book called Taxi Terry, and I got to meet Taxi Terry. He's a taxi driver in Texas, and he'll charge the same rate as other taxi drivers. Yet as he's driving someone to their hotel, he'll ask, "Are you visiting town? Can I take you to see one of the most beautiful monuments in our city along the way?" No extra charge, and he'll take their photo. He gives them his business card and says, "I'd love to be your point of contact." As you strive to increase your influence, as you strive to increase your business success, going above and beyond and working passionately as a high performer, being a problem solver and seeing how can I generously give my time and serve others helps you feel more engaged and more competent as well. So there's this beautiful satisfaction that comes when we're generously giving and serving. And then others, word of mouth, you become that category of one as a high performer. So I think that's very interesting that they're not as concerned about rewards as they are about the spirit of generosity and of service in their hearts. So overall, it seemed like most of us got a lot of A's and B's. So we're doing pretty well on high performance and are going to be able to dial it up. This is another screenshot moment for your notes. This is the definition of high performance. So as we talked about, you said, it seems like it should be constant work. It's definitely about leadership. It might be hard. So here's the definition from research on high performance. High performers succeed beyond standard norms. So if there's kind of the normal distribution curve, they're that category of one kind of level of performance. And this was my favorite part, consistently over the long term. You've probably heard a lot of you've heard peak performance. This is different in that I used to be a peak performer. Scale the peak, give me that peak and I will climb it like the best achiever you've ever seen. And then what would happen is I would plummet to the valley to recover and prepare to scale the next. So my life looked a lot like this. My career looked a lot like this. I would recover in vacations and weekends and then scale again. That's exhausting, my friends. I think of it like I'm a big cyclist. If I have to cycle and then stop and cycle and then stop, my momentum, that energy to get started is so hard. High performers learn how to put habits in their life so that they're consistently here. They still have the ebbs and flows that we all do, but they don't have this going on. Peak, plummet to the valley. It's a pattern that exists where they're able to consistently perform at high levels over the long term because of the habits that they place into their lives. And the most important part is they do so while they're maintaining their health and well-being and the quality of relationships with the ones they love. A lot of my high performance coaching clients, one of them, I love this word and I've now shared it with all. They say, I love this because my loved ones don't get the rest of me at the end of the day. They get the best of me. And we can condition ourselves for that, where we don't come home across the finish line of the workday so exhausted that our loved ones don't get what's best of ourselves. Another screenshot moment. There are 6 pillars of high performance. Tonight, we're going to be focused on psychology. But as we frame a lot of these sessions and we ask you for some feedback, I want you to be thinking about which ones are most intriguing to you. And you can type them in the chat now if it's top of mind, but we'll be asking you at the end as well and sending out a survey for some feedback. Which of these topics interest you the most in high performance? Tonight, we're talking about psychology, but there's plenty of space on our calendars month over month of any topics you want to talk about. This is related to high performance. Also, I invite you to share topics that interest you in your field of optometry so that Daniel and I can calibrate and create this as a space of service where we're designing these moments together to be focused highly on what you enjoy and need and want to learn about. So we're going to get into psychology, and you're going to be in a breakout room in just a moment doing an activity together. So if you're getting a little tired because it's 6:30 on a Monday night, inhale some energy, exhale that good energy out, reframe your mind. Cognitive distortion is a psychology term that basically describes the way that our brains don't always see and interpret information correctly. They're interpreting information and filtering it through threat detection, through past experience, through our schema. There's a really great book called The 7 Sins of Memory, written by a Harvard psychologist that talks about the 7 ways our brain does not accurately remember things. If you think about a recent challenge or fight you might have had with a family member, that's just living proof that we don't see things the same way, right? They see things one way, we see it a different way. We live the same moment in time, yet we're seeing it differently. That's a cognitive distortion. And it's a habitual way of thinking. Our cognitive distortions are often negatively biased. And that's because we're wired to detect threats. Our brains are wired to detect threats and say, I'm going to survive this. So we have what's called a negativity bias in our mind. And our thought patterns can cause us to view that reality in an inaccurate and typically negative way. And we say things like, I've got the worst luck in the world, or I'll never reach that goal. I'm not going to be able to. We start these narratives in our mind based on our negativity bias and this distortion. So I'm going to share with you a tool that helps us shift away from that natural way of wiring. We don't live in the days of the caveman anymore. So we can rewire and reshape our brains to focus on what Carol Dweck calls a growth mindset. Dan Sullivan just recently released a book called The Gap in the Gain. It's an extraordinary one. Ken, I can already tell it would be a book that's like right up your alley. Dylan, probably right up your alley as well. Heather, probably right up your alley. The Gap in the Gain says, when I look back versus forward, the forward motion looking towards our goals is the the gap. Where am I now? Where do I want to be? And what's that gap? How do I close it? That leads us to a pattern of thinking of we're not enough. When we look at the gain, we look back at where we were and how much we've grown, and that's our position of power. So very interesting concept there in a book I recommend for those of you who are readers and like to learn that way. So we're going to look at a challenging career experience that robbed you of some degree of joy. So everybody got a moment come to mind right away on that one? And we're going to explore as many ways as we can of seeing that. And then we're going to climb the ladder. So I'm going to share what I mean by that. Go ahead and take a screenshot of this. This is a ladder of inference that I developed in partnership with systems thinking, dynamic modeling experts out at MIT. Peter Senge created the ladder of inference using 16 rungs. And way back in the good old days, I was responsible for working with MIT and helping them take that 16 rung ladder and make it translatable to children, elementary age children. So I brought it down to 4 and then later added 1 more for adult learning. So 5 seems to be easier to remember. 16, even I've studied it forever, and 16 is too many. So experience is the base rung, then spect, how perfect for opticians, spectacles, spectators. It's our way of seeing. The way we see the world informs our beliefs, and those beliefs train our thoughts, and our thoughts determine our actions. So this is a behavioral explanation of how we take action in the world. For those of you who have leadership roles where you're responsible for other human beings, that might be as a parent, it might be as a consultant, it might be as a board member, it might be as a manager in your office, it might be with your teams, it could even be a sporting event or in your community volunteering. Anytime you see an action that is something you don't want to see as a leader, you can unpack that action through this ladder as well. So it's become a really great critical thinking tool for me as a leader in helping people make better behavioral choices. So we're going to talk, remember back to COVID and all the weight we gained during quarantine. Anybody else do that? Guilty? I managed to pack on 19 pounds. I lied to myself for the first little bit where I was like, oh, I'm really, even my yoga pants are starting to feel tight. I've probably put on 5 to 10. And then whenever I really had my come to Jesus meeting with the scale, I learned it was 19. So COVID experience for me was a little bit of emotional eating, some unhealthy choices, and weight gain. Perspectives was what I saw each day was usually like, today was busy, it was challenging, it wore me out. I achieved all my goals. And I have a belief that food tastes amazing. It's a great reward system for myself. I deserve it. I have this weird thing that at the end of a day, I get to deserve eating toxic foods. It's a weird belief. And then from that space, I think I don't have time or energy to make dinner tonight. Maybe, let's do Taco Tuesday. Let's order out. Or maybe pizza night, burger night. And then my action is that I'll indulge. I'll eat a large portion of food. I'll feel really full and I'll detach. And I just feel happy because I'm not attached to the responsibilities of my workday. So that's what I like to call the red light ladder. It's the bad choices ladder. A little bit better choice is to reframe my thinking. Notice here, the experience is the same. I went through the same thing, but my perspective shifted. I made shift happen in the way I see things. I shifted my perspective to high performance perspectives. High performers generate the energy they need to endure challenges inherent to life. They eat so that they sleep well. They eat so that they can focus and get more done during the day. So from that perspective, I could form a new belief. I started to realize food is fuel. It assists me in sleeping well, staying focused, having a lot of energy. And then my thoughts could shift. As I started to make that dietary change of, I've got to get rid of this COVID weight, I shifted my perspective. I analyzed a new belief system that I could put into my head. And then my thoughts shifted. I started to be able to tell myself, I need to eat foods that energize me. I'm either feeding my energy or I'm destroying my energy by my food choices. And so I would make healthier choices, make time to prep my meals, take joy in caring for my health. So that's just an easy, common, fast way to teach you the ladder in a nutshell. What I want you to do, sorry, I thought I had one more ladder there. We'll go back to this one. In your breakout, I want you to share an experience that you're having in this moment. I invite you to share personal or professional. This is a space where we get to be human. And as leaders, COVID kind of changed the game, right? Blurred the lines of black and white. Personal and professional became gray. And we learned that those lives affect each other in ways that are important. So you can share if you want to share something that's going on personally, that's fine too. I encourage you to share and experiences you've had at work, a simple one, but one that might be that you would benefit from seeing different. So something challenging. And then you're going to climb the ladder with your partner. So you're going to be with one person, and you share, just like I did, the experience, what you saw. You might skip beliefs. It's hard to see our beliefs, and then thoughts and actions. So you'll just make your own ladder in your notes, talk through. You don't have to write anything down. Just talk through this ladder. So I'm going to ask you to take a screenshot. When you get in your breakout, you won't see my screen anymore. So have one person in that partner share the screen and talk through an experience you had and see if you can make shift happen, just like I role modeled here. I shared kind of the bad thinking, or I shouldn't say bad, the negative way of seeing it, the way of seeing it that led me to actions that created distance from my dreams or how I aspire to live. And then the shift that happened to see that event in a way that brings me more joy. So that's your main challenge. Take your ladder, share an experience and how you see it. And then can you challenge yourself to see it in a way that brings you more joy? So we're really just playing on those two bottom rungs of the ladder. I want to introduce you to the whole thing for high achievers. You might get there. Okay. With that, we're going to put you in a breakout. If you have questions, you can raise your hand. You can invite me to come in and I'll answer it for you. I'll be popping in and out of your breakouts. I'm not sure if I can do that actually as co-host, but we'll try. And we're going to give you the next 10 minutes to talk through this ladder with each other. So be mindful of your airtime. Someone take on the role and responsibility of the time police. Make sure that one person gets to talk for 5 minutes, the next person gets to talk for 5. We want to make sure that this is a space for everyone, where everyone is seen, where everyone has place to share their story. With that, let's break out and have some fun. Think of those 3 words that describe you as your best, and have a good time. Rooms are opening. Char, do you need help getting into a room, or are you in a position where you might not be able to join a room right now? Daniel, do you want to join Sarah, or do you want me to join her?
I'll join Sarah.
Okay, so go ahead and head on into room 1. That way she has a partner.
Oh, how do I do that?
So if you open up breakout rooms,
I don't see where rooms are.
go to more, the 3 dots more.
There it is. Okay.
Breakout rooms, and then you'll see them all. You'll be able to see a list of all the rooms. And then next to Sarah,
Sarah,
you see
there
room
should be
1, 2 heads,
join.
and a join button. Perfect. Welcome back. Welcome back. I hope you had so much fun.
Yay.
Yay.
Hey.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Everybody.
Thank you.
got
Thank you.
everybody? All right. How was your time together? Go ahead and just take yourself off of mute, share a little bit about the experience. This is first launch, right? So Daniel and I want to be able to hear, what did you like most? What would you like to change? What went well? Suggestions for improvement? Open floor.
Well, we didn't have enough time in our group, and we were really getting to the meat of it, of the conversation of it. I felt like we had like a lot of the same, viewpoints of the industry, where to go forward, how to prevent burnout, how to like change mindsets, because it's just amazing the mindset that a lot of opticians like have, because we're tired, we're burnt out. We have a unique job of selling glasses, being a psychologist, talking a lot, and then having to go home. Like, I'm still in my car. I still have to make dinner. Like, I need 20 minutes before I go in. My youngest is high Asperger, little Rain Man is what we call him. Like, dumb it down. Like, they've been home all day. It's summer, so it's just like, I appreciate this group because the people who joined, because I was telling Dylan, a lot of times we complain about we don't have enough forms. We're not a licensed state. But when something comes together, no one's there. So it's just like the accountability factor has to be good, there. So I thought it was a good breakout.
Appreciate that. I didn't put a ton of time on today's because I knew we were all new and didn't necessarily know each other. So I love that feedback, because it tells me you were able to go deep with someone you may or may not have known before this moment.
Well, Dylan and I are
We'll build that into
we're
next
besties.
month.
We're besties now.
Yeah, where we'll have longer conversation time next month. That's an easy fix. Other suggestions, thoughts, experiences? Thank you, Alicia, for sharing.
Yeah, I totally agree with Alicia. It was great to just talk one-on-one with somebody that I hadn't met before and realized, yeah, we all have common experiences, in particular in our field, and we were immediately able to identify with each other in exactly what we were saying. And that's exactly what, this kind of forum should be. Not only just, a gripe session or something like that, but to be able to meet with peers who we know are going through exactly the kind of the same things we are. And then the goal eventually be we figure out how to overcome these difficulties and challenges together.
Yes. All right. I'm going to do a group photo for Daniel's leadership photo book, if you don't mind. So just a quick smile, posture, look at your camera. 1, 2, 3, cheese. Thank you. All right. With that, I'm going to wrap us up. And Daniel and I will be composing a survey. It'll come to you as a Google link. I want you to do some thinking, give us some feedback about what you'd like to talk about next time, what would be of most value to you. And I want to leave you with this. This was something that I put together in my dissertation, was this notion. We often think that a leader has someone like that. A leader has direct reports, but we are all leaders of our lives. Like Alicia mentioned, she's got to go home and lead a family right now. Like, she's got to lead dinner, she's got to do all those things. And so I call this the empowered leadership model, because, and one of the things I love chatting with Randy about in breakouts, she was like, I want to gain more respect. And I so resonated with that, Randy, because I wanted that for so many years in my own career, especially my earlier years when I didn't have it yet and I was still building it. And so I shared with her this competence confidence model. And this model of leadership says we're all leaders. We are all responsible for leading the most difficult person on the planet every day, ourselves, right? So the self is who we lead every day. And some of us have the honor of leading others, and few of us have the honor of leading leaders. And so I want you to embrace this mindset that you are the leader of yourself. You are the leader of your industry. You have the privilege. I loved hearing in one of the breakouts, Ken had shared, I wrote it down. How did he say it? I got the opportunity to be on the floor to fit a pair. And it was a unique situation. It came out of left field. It wasn't a typical experience. It can derail you, right? But you can make that shift happen and find joy. And the words, I got the opportunity. So beautiful. Thank you for sharing that story in your breakout.
Sure.
So we would love to hear, what is one thing you want to do? So remember, we dial up our experience to 90% memory and retention if we commit to taking action. So go ahead and open up in the chat. We would love to use this as a data point for collection, because we can save the meeting chat and look at it later and say, this is what we want to help celebrate. We'll open next month's meeting with celebrations of, did you get these things done? This is that space for some personal accountability and support. So what is it you would like to do as a result of what you've learned? This might be you're going to stop doing something. It might be you are going to start doing something. What is one thing that you can do as a result of our time together?
I'm going to stop working to my pay level and start working to my personal goals, regardless of reward.
Dang, that gave me goosebumps all over my left arm. Look at that. Woo, stop working. Say that again. Stop working to my pay level.
Stop working just to my pay level and work to my personal achievement goals,
Yeah,
regardless of lack of reward.
because there's a different reward than money.
Yep.
I'm going to try to delegate a task that I know it's going to be hard to let go of the control, but I will try to delegate a task
Mhm.
to somebody or a group of people and just let it get done, because it's going to get done.
Mhm.
So that's hard for me. So I will do that.
I love that. It's hard for me too, because I'm like, I know I could do this faster and better and the way I like it. I'm going to see if I can dig up. I had a great podcast episode on delegation, and I'm going to see if I can find it. And if I can, I'll get that over to you. Any others in our accountability circle? Thank you, Ken, for typing in the chat. Continue to try to maintain balance.
Mine is procrastination. I'm a professional procrastinator, and because I accomplished my goal if I
Mhm.
put it off. So, but I have less stress if I gave myself more time to do it and not leaving it to the last minute.
I
Like
love
inventory.
Mm-hmm. It's we put off what we know we can do efficiently because we're like, I can get that done. But then it adds to stress. Interestingly, the brain remembers that and keeps it as a list. So think of it every time you procrastinate is like your brain's having to hoard a bunch of to-dos, and that weighs you down and takes down your energy. So get it done in the moment that you can prioritize and maximize your time and efficiency. Awesome. Any others? I'm just writing these down for our next session.
I'm contemplating getting back into the industry this week with a doctor. And so I want to keep that in mind as a potential, but also keep my healthy habits in place as I go forward if I get back into it and not neglect them.
Yes.
I've, started trying to eat better and walk and different things like that. I want to keep those habits going and keep that balance, even though, because that'll help with the stress that will come with
Yes.
industry.
Mm-hmm.
And boundaries might be a word you want to keep in your pocket.
Yeah, definitely.
You can create those boundaries for yourself so that you find the right person that is going to allow your skills and talents to shine and that brings you joy.
Mm-hmm.
That's
That's
where we
right.
claim our power.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing. Let's see. Dylan, what are your thoughts? Accountability circle. Put you on the spot here. Well, Randy, I don't have Randy's down either.
Yeah, keep pushing a little bit. I'm happy we're doing more than ever, and I'm looking forward to adding more to that, I guess, so.
Continue
Yep.
success.
Yep.
What do
Continue.
you feel is one thing that's working?
One thing.
Like if you said, I cannot let this go because this is critical to our success, that might be your accountability goal.
Consistency. Probably maybe the key word in my little sphere right now.
Excellent. That's a really great word to keep as an accountability goal. How about you, Randy?
Usually the space bar works. For some reason that time it did not. So, so mine is probably going to be more along the lines of the what we were talking about earlier with the confidence versus competence. Just kind of reestablishing that I do know what I know and being willing to share that with other people because I know it's a benefit to them too. So
Excellent. One of the things I shared in their breakout, it's an infinity symbol. So like a figure 8 on the side, competence in one circle, confidence on the other. The more you focus on building your competence, the more confident you'll become. And then others will see that in you and see that level of leadership and readiness. Well, this was so fabulous. It was my honor to spend time with you. And Daniel, thank you for sharing your treasured tribe with me. I loved getting to meet all of you, hear your stories in your breakout. I hope this was of value. We expect 100% participation on that survey. And not because we want to be a pain in your booty, but because we genuinely care and want to create this next meeting with your needs in mind. So it will be short. I'm a big fan of clarity, brevity, and impact. So it will be probably in the range. I haven't written it yet, in full disclosure. Alicia, I'm like you. I'm a pressure player. I like that, like last minute goals. So it will be probably 3 to 5 questions. Super simple, Likert scale coupled with a blank, fill in the blank. If you can please do that the moment it comes in your inbox, don't put it off because you'll forget. And then we got to send reminders. So
when is it actually due?
I'm sorry. Yes. So it's an actual due.
What's the date?
Yesterday.
We'll get it. Daniel, what do you think? I'll get it done tonight or tomorrow morning, probably most likely. And then Daniel can maybe get it out.
So it'll be before the end of the week for sure.
Yeah.
We'll get it in the next couple days.
Perfect. All right. And we'll hope to see all of you next month. Keep the community
Yes, I would
going.
love to see all of you again next month. And if this was valuable to you and you want to see what we do in the future, bring a friend, invite somebody else who could use this and wants to be part of this.
Yes, I love that. All right, with that, go out and shine your love and light into the world, my friends. Have a wonderful rest of your night.
All right, thanks everyone. Good night.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Good night. Daniel, are we jumping on to our own now?
Yes,
Okay.
we are.
Okay.
Good night.
See you in a minute.